Banks Peninsula. Very good to see you again.
Kia ora koutou, e te whānau. Let's see if I can make up some time for you this morning. All right, so here's the latest on what's been happening in Banks Peninsula.
So now I say thank you for your presentation.
So firstly, we have decisions made under delegation. Thank you. We received minutes from 6 of our Hero Reserve committees and the Acro Museum Advisory Committee. Also, we're proud to support local initiatives through discretionary response funding. Here's just a few. A mobile emergency kit for the Cass Bay Emergency Hub. Bark renewal in the playground for soft landings at the Little River Play Centre. And a much anticipated workshop fit out for the Little River Railway goods shed, which is aiming to be a men's shed, as well as blinds for the associated museum. Next, I'd like to highlight the public forums that we've had. We heard from inspiring young Abby Laird, who received youth development funding from the board. She excelled at the Future Problem Solving International Conference in America, and she's now sharing her knowledge locally. We look forward to seeing how she uses her skills in the community in the future. Cass Bay Residents Association shared their last Summer with Your Neighbours event, and we heard about various activities undertaken with the Cass Bay Reserve Committee and volunteers with their planting and weeding, trap making, and the setup of their emergency hub, and the beautiful living memorial at Pony Point Reserve in remembrance of those lost during the mosque terror attacks. And we were intrigued to hear about the Know Your Place group exhibition at Ray Gallery in November, featuring amazing audio recordings of ocean sounds combined into a symphony. These works are in response to research and observations of the local environment. FENZ showed us an informative presentation to help the community prepare for the upcoming fire season. Did you know that fire can burn uphill faster, 6 times faster than on the flat? That's something that I learned from it anyway. Fire safety is crucial for Banks Peninsula communities in the dry and windy conditions. Our Reserve Committees and Parks team plan strategically with fire breaks and low flammability plants in high-risk areas. There's many ways that our community can prepare, and one of the ways is to ensure that you have a 4 metre by 4 metre clearance for fire trucks and driveways. There's so much more, but they have a great website for more information. Community focus. Recently, we audited community managed facilities across Banks Peninsula, identifying the most pressing needs for each of them, and then we allocated better off funding to keep these assets operational. For example, the Port Levy Hall was built in 1870, and it's the oldest council community facility. The Residents Association has had events coordinators a role there in place, and efforts of this person have contributed to considerable activation of the facility. The hall's intimate interior space supports social gatherings with barleaners, displays of historic memorabilia, and a book exchange library. Funding to improve the kitchen and toilet block will make the facility fit for use and helping to draw the community of the Bay together for years to come. This is one of the many advantages that the Better Off funding has provided for the listed facilities, as you can see here. Each has an equally compelling and interesting story, and we are so happy to be able to help these communities continue to grow their local connections. A connected community is a healthy community. These facilities are precious taonga for our remote communities, providing gathering spaces, celebration venues, and safe havens. We appreciate our community's hard work and thank the Council for the Better Off funding opportunities. Thank you.
Great. I'm very pleased you brought that up about Better Off funding. What I'd like to see going forward is, because it was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 500 grand over, oh, you guys got a bit less.
That would be great, yes. Was it 500?
But what you've done with the money you've got, you guys are at the cutting edge of what's needed, and I would like to see, I know everyone, the com boards get funding from council, but this was a one-off thing. I'd like to try and emulate that going forward, maybe not to the same amount, but because you guys know what's needed,
yeah,
and you can cut it off so you don't have to do reports, apply to funding grants, all that sort of thing. You're Johnny on the spot and you can spend it. So thank you so much for what you've done here. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
So I'd like to one day have that happening. Tyrone.
Thank you for your kind words, Your Worship.
Except your area,
because it was actually a very good process, and it's got some really, really good outcomes. But just quickly on the Allendale Hall, I note the board gave $21,000 towards the reopening of the Allendale Hall. Now, I understand that was had to be closed after a botched repair job, so the community can't really use it. It has got an amazing value to the community and to wider Christchurch. How much, do we have a sense of how much more it's going to cost to get it reopened?
I don't know off the top of my head, maybe staff know, but I just know it's a signal from the community board to say that we support that the hall gets reopened. Yeah, do you know?
Yeah, I could just add that staff are working on that at the moment because of the long-term plan resolution that was passed. So there's some really good work going on with staff and the community association and Governors Bay who manage that. So we can provide some more details.
No, cool. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you very much.
To get that open.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Good to see you. Okay, Horswell Hornby Riccarton, please.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present the monthly report of the Waipuna Holswell Hornby Riccarton Community Board. Now, it has been a bit light on the agenda at our last meeting, but we have been very busy going around the community with the presentation of Community and Youth Service Awards. But first off, decisions made under delegation. So we only had one item we had to decide on, and that was the discretionary response fund for the South Hornby School. Now, the community was, in this particular application, the community was concerned about privacy issues with a 2-story residential development built right next to the swimming pool, the school swimming pool. So the amount granted of $7,000 was to help them purchase a couple of umbrellas or sails to help address the privacy issues. Then we had the Waipuna the Community Board Area Report was accepted, and we had funding allocations also, 8 individual youth development funds and 2 group allocations granted. And the Off the Ground Fund, Rachel Smith, towards the UC Skatebirds Club Pride skate event. And then the Summer with Your Neighbors. This is about bringing people closer together and celebrating the unique and diverse mix of each neighborhood. So we have had 18 allocations for this one. Next is the Community Service Awards. These are given in recognition of significant voluntary service. They are a way of thanking and honoring volunteers who demonstrate dedication and passion, inspiring others to make service a central part of their lives. Community Service Awards have been presented to Mr. Mark Duff for the Hornby Greater area, Angela Swinney for Salvation Army, Helen Kropp and Paula Robinson for Citizens Advice Bureau, and a posthumous award to Jill Rosalind Simmons of Plunkett. Youth Service Awards have been presented to Sinead Coleman of Holswell, Serena Morgan Quinn McConnell of Riccarton, and then a few more are coming for the September and November, and we'll be reporting about that. Now, in terms of the Community Service Awards, the board in previous years were just holding one award ceremony every year. This year, we have been trialing going out to the community. So it has been very successful and well received by the community that the community board members are coming out to them and presenting the awards. So that has been very well received. Now, Holswell is great news. It now has its own community patrol. And with all the growth happening in Holswell, it is about time that we have our own community patrol. Now, since the launch last August, there are now about 20 volunteers, fully trained patrollers. The household patrol car is now out and about every Friday and Saturday nights, and we're hoping to add Thursday nights soon. They're still open for more volunteers. The more the better, and the more eyes and ears for the police. Next is a Hornby Youth Hangout. The building in Waikola Avenue has had a spruce up with a new roof and signage. The hangout is run by Community Development Network Trust. It operates 3 days a week for young people in years 7 to 13, and it is a venue where young people can go after school, hang out with the other young people, and connect with youth workers. The Huritini Student Council met to plan their Pataka Food Pantry project. Now, this is an ongoing project for the Huritini Student Council, and they're developing their plans for a food pantry to be installed at each of their schools. And that's all from the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rhian Bailey. Thank you. Rightio, we've got Spraden Cashmere Heathcote, please. Gentlemen.
Mr. Mayor, thanks councillors for having us back. Tēnā koutou katoa. So we'll get right into it today. Actually, Kia, you're going to kick us off, weren't you, with CRAF?
Yeah, so we've been spending some of the government's the Regeneration Acceleration Facility money. So we've got a package of works, some of which is currently out for consultation, some of which we were able to sign off at our last meeting. So that was improvements on Walton Road and Hastings Street East to help improve safety for kids getting to Walton School, and work on Beckenham Street to help improve safety for kids getting to St Peter's School. One of the cool things about this work is that in the Beckenham Street we were able to trial it using Innovating Streets processes, so that was cool to kind of go through that process iteration, see what worked, and then put it in concrete finally. And yes, there will be some race platforms here to make sure that people are driving at appropriate speeds around schools.
Thanks, Kia. Yep, and I think just to sort of add to that, around the conversation that was had earlier in the chamber, we had all but unanimous support really for these kind of improvements in our communities. And as Councillor Scandrett suggested, would love to understand if there is, I guess the other side of the coin, which at the moment seems to be quite theoretical to us, as opposed to the real safety improvements we're seeing in the community. Actually, that photo there is the children from St Peter's School coming to speak to the board in support of the changes that we were making. We had a few other issues of advocacy, age-friendly. Our board has a sort of a focus group that's focused on issues for elderly people in our community. And actually, they've identified that for our people in our community, and I'm sure it's similar for communities across the city, that the hospital accessibility and shelter is a real big issue. Obviously, that's not a council issue, but we as a board will be advocating on their behalf to the relevant central government authorities about improvements. Obviously, it's a bit of a hot button topic nationally, but we need to be speaking up for the elderly in our community as well. And we request that the council, obviously it's a citywide issue, we request the council join us in that advocacy and expressing support for improved services at the Christchurch Hospital. We've also had a hui with corrections in our community around the process for releasing offenders back into the community and what kind of supports are in place, and that was really, really helpful following a traumatic incident that happened several years ago now in Addington, which I think it was really good to see central government frontline staff turning up and really fronting for the community. So I just want to express appreciation really to corrections for that. We're also exploring options to better connect with young people, and we're going to be holding a hui with groups of young people and sort of organisations in our community that work with young people later in the year to kind of see how that could look. And
we were really keen to, obviously, Councillor Harrison Hunt, of the work that you do in the youth portfolio, looked that into. So we wanted to bring that up here to bring. We'll
invite you along if you're keen to come. Cool. So the main thing on our board's agenda last meeting was the looking at a variation on the lease for the Christchurch Yacht Club. They're proposing to make some changes to their site, and there's a whole lot of hoops they've got to jump through. So it's a long road ahead of them, but the first hoop is really getting landlord approval. So they just the last session we had it was just really about information sharing, and we've got some pictures up on the screen there of what they've sort of got in mind. It's mainly around addressing some existing health and safety issues and improving the use of the site, so they're actually able to use the area more effectively and efficiently and get out of the yacht club car park for some of their trainings. And we know that it's going to be an issue of great interest to the community. And we also just wanted to put a photo up here of the Matua Olympics, which we held at Pioneer Stadium on the 28th of September. It promotes physical activity among older Pacific residents 65 years plus, and it was a really fun team environment. I know that our board staff put a huge amount of work into this, and it sounds like it was an awesome success. I was unable to make it, but you can see some of our elected members up there were able to be present. So yeah, that was awesome.
That's good.
Cool. Anything else you want to add to that, Kia?
Okay, Tyler?
Oh, actually, one thing I will say, just I guess a bit of a flag in advance of next month's agenda is we're intending to come back to talk to council in depth about the Apollo site. So this is the site of the former Addington Stadium, and I guess our sort of vision or how the process could work around what happens next there. So we'll be coming back next month to talk about that a lot more.
Yeah, mate. Tyler, please.
Yeah, kia ora, guys. Thanks so much for that. I was actually intending to do a tour around the community boards prior to the annual plan to talk about what youth in your areas would like, and also the multicultural portfolio. But the next one is around the yacht club. And I'm wondering, what I'm noticing actually a lot is there's a lot of young people bombing off that wharf. Is there any provisions to be able to continue to allow that in the new design?
So the information we got from the yacht club was that they wouldn't be restricting access to that site any further.
Cool.
Based on the changes they're making. Yeah.
Although I think the yacht club, they have concerns just about making sure that people are using that facility
safely.
Yeah. So I guess there's probably a bit of work to do there. It will also change the shape of the site, and that does tend to change usage passively as well. Just the way it looks and feels, but they're not going to be restricting access. Yeah,
but no diving board.
We don't need one. You just need a rocket or a wharf.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good to see you again. Okay, Fenelton, Waimari, Harewood, please.
I don't think we have any presenters.
No, sorry. The place is running so well they don't need to come and tell us what's going on. Probably, okay. Papua Inner Central, please.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you for the opportunity to present today, and apologies from Simon, he was unable to make it along today. As usual, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on what's happened in our board area over the past month. You'll see there our decisions made under delegations, which included some new road names for a couple of new developments, a new lease for the Mirabelle Papanui Cricket Club, and discretionary response funding to the Richmond Community Garden Trust for the Revolution Cafe, and to Cotswold Ave Kindy towards outdoor play equipment. The highlight of our September meeting was a deputation from representatives of the Christchurch Polish community. You may remember about a year ago that they came here into the chamber and presented a petition to you asking for a park or reserve in the city to be named after the 733 Polish orphans who arrived in New Zealand in 1944. With the 80th anniversary of the children's arrival this year, the representatives thought it timely to ensure the city has a special tribute to these children. The children arrived on 1st of November 1944 upon invitation of the Prime Minister and stayed at an army camp at Pahiatua called Little Poland. Most eventually ended up in Christchurch, Auckland and Wellington, with a few hundred of their descendants now living in Christchurch and Canterbury. Thanks to some fantastic work by our council staff, we were able to approve the naming of the reserve at 2 Burkitt Street in the Oakbridge subdivision in Marshland, Little Poland Park. This area has an existing connection to Poland, as a number of Polish immigrants arrived in the area in the 1870s and put down roots there, and this is reflected in a number of the street names in that subdivision. It was a real honour to hear the story of the orphans as told by these descendants, and to meet 2 of the original orphans who arrived on that ship in 1944 and are still going strong today. Here are some photos of a planting day held by the Sticks Living Laboratory Trust at Redwood Springs. There was a good turnout from the local community to add to the plantings along the bank of the Pūhara Kekenui Styx River. In August, we used our regular community liaison hui to engage with local groups on the Play Spaces Network plan. Staff ran an engaging workshop where we heard some really valuable feedback and ideas from those present, and we look forward to seeing the next step in this engagement process. We've continued presenting our community service awards out in the community over the past month. Here you can see Linda Cowan from Age Concern, Lisbeth Van Broeksham from the Swans Road Parklet, and Nikita Riches from Recreate New Zealand receiving their well-deserved awards. And here are a few more recipients. We acknowledged the long service and dedication of a number of the Christchurch Hospital volunteers and visited an amazing local group called From One Mother to Another, who make special care packs for caregivers with children in hospital. They had 4 volunteers receiving awards, including the 3 young Annecy brothers who give their time to help put packs together. We've talked to you before about the community activation project happening in Petrie Park in Richmond, and you'll see here the murals for the fences around the park are coming along really well. The paintings are of local dogs who enjoy the park, and a really good number of the local community came out, both young and old, came out to help paint and also to meet the dogs that are in the paintings. It was great to see a number of local young people come together recently for Te Wero, the Challenge. This is a citywide scavenger hunt event where teams compete in a series of challenges to test their knowledge, creativity and physical abilities. Thanks to the Papanui Youth Development Trust and Te Ora Hou for once again teaming up with our local community governance team to put on another successful event for our young people. And that's us. Thanks.
Brilliant. Kelly, please.
Yeah, thank you. That's really interesting. Thanks for acknowledging the Polish community in Preston's. We have Polish settlers present, and I know that the Polish community are very supportive of the Marshland Hall Trust attempt to build a community centre in the area. Did they ask for anything else at all, or any other projects that you're aware of on the horizon?
No, they were just focused on that park. They were either going to put a plaque in and a bench with a memorial to those children. But yeah, they came to us just focused on that one project.
Yeah, okay. Oh, good. Thank you.
Good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okie doke. And lastly, Coastal Bearwood Linwood, please. Hey, Paul.
Ata Māori e te kurumātua me ngā kai kaunihira.
Chris.
Hi, Chris. So first we'll start as usual with some highlights from the board area. The Alston Development Project hosted their first whānau festival, a free community event. Recently the festival enjoyed a fantastic turnout with whānau engaging in various activities throughout the day. I was also privileged to attend their AGM recently, along with Deputy Chair Jackie Simons. The Wilson Development Project Manager Eddie Hayes and the Wilson Development Project do fantastic work and are real assets to Wilston. And Kāwai Rangatahi hosted an outdoor movie at Linwood Park by Te Pou Toitoi on Friday the 20th of September. Again, working in collaboration with YCD, they showed Shrek and brought close to 250 people with a great mix of rangatahi and whānau attending the free event. We really appreciate the work of Kāwai Rangatahi and YCD in this area, and we're also really excited about having Youth Town in Woolston Village. These kinds of organisations are critical to providing connection and belonging for rangatahi in the Linwood Ward, which is an investment in our future as a community. And next, there was a New Brighton clean-up organised by the New Brighton Residents Association. Around 15 volunteers went along to help with the clean-up day on Sunday the 22nd of September. The group collected 17 bags of rubbish by the end of the day. As you'll be aware, an ongoing challenge with having so many vacant sites is that some people think it's a great place to dump their rubbish. So progress on the vacant land differential rate is essential to regenerating this area. Portlink, which that has some happenstance around it. Unfortunately, the owner, who was in here just recently, and Occupy have successfully objected to the resource consent conditions around noise. So noise conditions have been removed, but they've offered up they have to have a noise management plan, and until the Environment Court makes a declaration, shipping containers are not considered buildings for the purposes of the district plan. I find it extraordinary that the owner was here just now asking you to prevent small businesses from running food trucks in the city and said, with no sense of irony, I don't know what the rules are in the district plan, but it's about what's best for the city. So when it comes to CBD businesses, it's about what's best for the city, and when it comes for Woolston, it's okay because it's in the district plan. I'm speechless. Never mind the actual people who live in Woolston. Where's the limit, as they said indeed. So if he wants a less permissive district plan, then he should support the forthcoming plan change for the residential industrial fringe. Finally, on a more positive note, on the 26th of September, the board received a workshop on the Raranga Te Rāwhiti, weaving a strategic plan and map. So this is in response to the wastewater treatment plant report. This is a practical program for reconfiguring how the council as a whole, as an institution, works with the East. The board plan to formally receive this at our next meeting. So thank you to the community governance staff led by Chris, the SOAN network, and the CEO, Mary Richardson, for their work on this and their support, and to all the board members and councillors for their positivity. The primary value of Raranga Te Rāwhiti is kotahitanga. We are all in this together. So the community, the council, the community board, the council staff, local government is something that we do together. So we're very excited about this, and appreciate your support. Happy to take any questions if you have any.
Kelly, then Tim.
Thanks, Paul. Just in terms of Portlink, two quick questions really. One, are they, to your mind, obeying their consent in regards to when they start work, the noise that they're creating when they finish their work?
There have been multiple breaches of the existing conditions, but they are now, well, now they've set a resource consent in place. So residents don't think that they are, but I don't currently have any information to suggest that they're, corroborated to suggest they're breaching what is now the consent conditions.
Yeah, so in your opinion, is this a good thing for the city to have such a close interface between the commercial and the residential?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. I just want to thank you for your advocacy for your community over at Portlink and pointing out the irony or hypocrisy, whichever you want to look at it today. So thank you.
Done. Yanni, please. Are you there, mate? Hello. Go, Yanni.
Oh, thank you. Just to confirm that they had actually stacked the containers in the landscaped area, which was against where they were permitted to be. So the enforcement staff had to go out again, monitor it, and take additional compliance measures in regards to it. So, yeah, I mean, the residents are pretty frustrated around the whole situation there, and staff have advised that there is a gap in our district plan when it comes to there's a special auditory characteristics, which is effectively the metal on metal does not actually generate the type of noise that they can measure very easily. So although it's incredibly disruptive and has a really big negative impact on the community, our district plan is silent on some of the aspects that enable this sort of thing to occur, which is why we need to get that plan change in place as soon as possible.
Yep.
And the frustration from the community is that if council had done the plan change when we were first asked for it 5 years ago, we may have had stricter controls that would have prevented the situation from getting worse, or from at least being able to proceed as it is. But because we've taken so long, it's very hard retrospectively to change what gets done once something has consent.
And at the end of the day, it's like it doesn't matter. It's like, don't do this in the central city, but we do what we want in Woolston, and that's the come away from here today just shaking my head.
Thank you very much, gents.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you to our com boards. I will now move it and